Before we start the show, just a word from our sponsor, Undeniable Press. For all your screen printing needs, located in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan. If you ever need any t-shirts or any other little promo accessories, posters, or whatnot printed up for you, go to Undeniable Press. They're located, once again, in the Corktown district of Detroit, Michigan, and you can reach them at facebook.com/undeniablepressdetroit. And those same guys who do Undeniable Press also have a clothing line called 20 by 20 Apparel. It's very much wrestling themed, all sorts of nostalgic themes in regards to the history of wrestling. And you can go check out their clothing line at 20x20apparel.com. That's the number 20x, the number 20apparel.com. Now let's start the show.
Fresh is the word.
I'm Jim Duggan, got long wood for plenty hoes. I keep it fresher than fresh, but you already know. You suckers bummy, I'm money, I got a ton of flows. My weed loud like a motherfucking thunder roll. Your shit quiet like you ballin' on a budget though. We see your kicks and we laugh and yellin' what are those. You see me shining like a suit on puffy. You know my grindin' shit is too strong, buddy. That's why the dude call money. I be stuntin' like it's nothing at all, cause it's nothing to me. It's probably something to y'all. Trying to smoke like me, then come and fuck with your dog. Got a closet full of kicks, you can't cop it them all. And I'm fresher than the freshest, you can tell it's in my essence. Bitch, you see the way I'm rapping, yes I do this shit to death. I tell I'm running out of breath, I tell somebody cut a check. But either way you know it's fresh, and either way you know it's fresh. Fresh, we fresh. Fresh, 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 goddammit, we fresh.
Welcome to Fresh is the World. I'm your host, K Fresh. This is the podcast about music, pro wrestling, and MMA. And we got an amazing show for you today. Big guest. But before I mention that big guest, definitely want to tell you how you can help out the podcast. You can always go to freshesthepodcast.com and share any of the links that are on the website on any of your social medias. That would be fantastic. And you can also click on the link that says support the podcast. There's a PayPal link that you can donate to, along with an Amazon link. If you're ever going to make any Amazon purchases, use that link and it'll give us back a little bit of commission. That'll help out the podcast. You can also follow Fresh is the Word on Twitter and Instagram at Fresh is the Word 1. That's Fresh is the Word, the number 1. Or on Facebook at facebook.com/freshesthepodcast and give us a like on there. And you can go ahead and share anything on the Facebook page too on your Facebook. That would be awesome. And also, you can subscribe to Fresh is the Word on Stitcher and iTunes. All you need to do is just go search Fresh is the Word. It'll come up, hit subscribe. Then it'll automatically download each week. That's awesome. And you can also give us a rating if you want, preferably 5 stars, and give us a comment. And if you comment, I'll definitely read it on the podcast. That's no problem. Big guest this week. Probably somebody who would epitomize what this podcast is about. None other than the Ayatollah of rock and rolla, the Lionheart, Chris Jericho. Yes, Chris Jericho. You get to hear my conversation with the great one. I am a Jerichoholic. I am a friend of Jericho. He is recently, ended his current WWE run, which was fantastic, one of the best runs of his entire career, to take some time out to finish the Fozzy album, the band that his rock band, Fozzy. They just released a new single and video called Judas, which I'm not even, no shits about it. Best single that they have ever done, leaps and bounds. It's such a huge step forward for Fozzy, and we talk about that. It's an amazing, it's really good song, and the video is awesome too. It just got past 1 million views on YouTube. And I just can't wait to hear the rest of the album because from what Chris Jericho told me in this interview you're about to hear, there's, it's one of those albums where it might have like 5 or 6 singles. So we get into working on the new album, how they worked with a different producer this time, and how his rock career and his wrestling career kind of are full circle with each other, how it helps out each other. So we definitely talk about all that. I had definitely had to sort of tone down my fandom. I'm a professional. I'm a professional when it comes to interviewing people, big or small, tall or huge. Doesn't matter who it is. I keep it professional. But the whole time my inner self was jumping around like, I can't believe I'm talking with Chris Jericho. Anyways, let's get to the interview with Chris Jericho. All right, Chris Jericho, thank you for doing this interview with me, taking the time out to do this with me.
No problem.
All right, cool. The new single Judas is out now, and it looks to be #1 everywhere, beating out John Mayer and Papa Roach songs. Is the album ready yet?
No, the idea was to put the single up first, and then the record will come out in a few months. It's kind of the game plan. And, to create a buzz and reintroduce Fozzy to the world. And I'll tell you what, this is definitely by far the biggest song we've ever had, the biggest buzz we've ever had to have, #1 on the iTunes charts in metal and rock and roll in 10 different countries now. And it's the biggest success we've ever had with the song. And it just came out, on Friday. And the video just came out on Tuesday, and it's already had 500,000 views. So it's a really cool time right now. Gigs are selling out. The buzz for the band is bigger than it's ever been. So it's, like I said, it's a pretty cool week for us right now.
Definitely, yeah. And from the sound of Judas, this sounds like a huge step forward creatively for the band. What's the whole mindset of yourself and the rest of the band going into making this new album?
Well, you always want to progress from the last record. And I think all of our albums since 2010 have been better than the last. There's been a lot of diversity on those records. There's been a lot of experimentation, which really paid off. But I think on this record, we wanted to make a cohesive unit of songs and not worry so much about, if the song doesn't need a guitar solo, you don't put a guitar solo in. We've always been like that, but this time we really focused on it. Plus, we worked with a guy called Johnny Andrews who produced the record with us. He did Lights Go Out as far as co-writing it, and we thought it'd be cool to have him involved for the whole record. So there's a whole different slant on it, whereas in the past, Rich and I were in charge of everything, and this one we were in charge of nothing. Everything had to go through like the Johnny Andrews, ringer, so to speak. So that really paid off too, because we had some great chemistry with them and learned a lot from each other. And I think that's why, if this was like 1987, where you'd have an album like Pyromania that had 5 or 6 singles, this album has 5 or 6 singles on it,
right?
Which is really cool. And like I said, if you thought Judas is good, wait till you hear some of the other songs on the record. They're just as good, if not better. So it's like I said, it's cool to be sitting on these songs and this record and knowing just how good everything is, and also basking kind of in the glory of what Judas is doing.
Right. Working with Johnny Andrews, bringing him into the fold, what did he bring to the table? How did he bring the best out of you guys?
Just from a different background. He's very much into, not so much into heavy metal bands. He's more into, the Depeche Mode side of things, along with kind of more indie rock kind of stuff. So I think the most important thing, and Rich and I know this as well, is a good song is a good song no matter what style of music it is. A hook is a hook, and all that matters is what's best for the song. And I think more than ever, that's really what happened on this record. Like, usually I write almost all the lyrics on every album we've ever done. This time I submitted my 14 sets of lyrics, and Johnny used 2 of them. And so if it's an ego standpoint, it's like, well, I only had 2 songs on the record, but who cares? Who cares who wrote the song?
Right.
I'm singing them. They're my songs just by the fact that I'm the one who's introduced into the world with my voice. And that's fine with me. don't care if I ever write any songs, as long as the song is good and people like it. That's more important than anything. So, and like I mentioned before, guitar players want to have guitar solos. There's maybe only 4 or 5 guitar solos on the record, but you don't miss them. You don't notice it because the songs are so strong. And if something didn't benefit the song, it got cut.
Okay.
And there's no egos being hurt. It's just the way it is. All we care about is the songs. And that's why, once again, why the record is so good, why Judas is so good, because all that matters is what you're hearing when you play it on your radio.
Right.
Not all the work that went into it behind the scenes.
Right. With your past WWE schedule and doing the podcast, how did you balance making time to, do this Fozzy project this time?
To do the record?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good thing about being a singer is that I go into the studio, I do my stuff. We've recorded 11 songs. It's basically 11 or 12 days. You usually bang out a song in a day.
Right.
So once I go in there and lay down my tracks, I'm done. So we start recording in January, and I would go to Atlanta for a day or for 2 days, depending on when I could, get away. And then WWE, I was working basically maybe 10 to 12 shows a month, so I wasn't super packed. I'm still busy, but it made it a little bit easier to pop into the studio. And I knew we were going to be recording in January and February, so I specifically designed my schedule to have a little more open time so I could come to Atlanta and do the work that needed to be done.
Definitely. When did in your whole life did you have this idea that you wanted to be in a rock band? Was there a time when you just realized that you might have this potential to be a lead singer?
I mean, I've been playing in bands since I was 13 years old. It's something that I've always done.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, anybody that knows my story, I've said it a million times that, when I was a kid, I wanted to be in a rock band and I wanted to be a wrestler. Those were my 2 dreams.
Yeah.
And that was very early on. I remember when I was maybe, like I said, 10 or 12 or 13, really digging wrestling and really getting into rock and roll and thinking, like, I'd love to do one of these things or do both of these things. And so I've been doing it my whole life, and now to get to this level with Fozzy and to get where I got in WWE, it's cool to know that, these dreams that I had when I was a kid, it has been a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice and a lot of bullshit, but at the end of the day, I did it.
Right.
And didn't listen to anybody who told me I couldn't do it. I don't have any interest in people like that. And even to this day, I was talking to Taylor Momsen yesterday. I would say the festival was pretty reckless. And I was like, her and I are very similar. We both left our respective fields to go play music, despite what critics thought about that. Like,
right.
You can't do this because you're a wrestler. You can't do this because you're an actress. And it's like, I think there's a lot of people in the world that take offense to the fact that somebody actually wants to do more than just one thing.
Right.
But those type of people don't concern me. All I care about is being creative. And if my name goes with something, it has to be 1,000%, great. And we've been able to achieve that with Fozzy and the WWE. And there's no band on the planet that we're scared to play with. You put us on stage with anybody, and we will hold our own or blow them away. And I don't care if it's Metallica or Guns N' Roses or U2 or anybody, Iron Maiden,
right?
Whatever. So I mean, and that helps as well because I have 27 years of show business experience working the crowd and that sort of thing. So,
right.
Like I said, I think another reason why Judas is so big is it's the right time for us.
Yeah.
We're ready. We've learned so much in the last 5, 6, 7 years that had we had this success that we're having right now earlier, we might not have adapted to it as well. We might not be able to live up to it. But now we're definitely ready for that. And it's like I said, it's a really cool time to be in Fozzy right now.
Awesome. When starting Fozzy, outside of critics and whatnot, did other rock and metal bands warm up to you guys, to warm up to you coming from the wrestling world at that time?
I think it was musicians that got us more than anybody off the bat. Like Zach Wild was a big fan of Fozzy. Guys in Avenged Sevenfold, guys in Dream Theater. I mean, we had a really good rapport with a lot of different bands. Slash loves Fozzy, and Kerry King loves Fozzy. That's we always have that respect from our peers. We have a great rock and roll band. These aren't guys that are just
right.
Starting out. Rich Ford and Frank Fonster have been playing together for 25 years and been playing.
Stuck Mojo. Yeah.
For 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, Paul DeLeo used to play bass with Billy Joel, for God's sake.
Right.
Paul Simon, like, these are guys that are veteran, amazing players and great showmen as well. So when Fozzy shows up, if you know us, you know what to expect. If you don't, we'll kick your fucking ass. Like, who the hell were those guys?
Right.
We love that. I love playing festivals because you'll see that always from people in the crowd and people watching from side stage as they slowly go like, oh my gosh, what is this? We like that.
Right. What are some of your fondest memories of those early years of putting this band together?
I think just doing it, you know, actually putting together a band and going on the road and touring and then making a record. This was never supposed to be anything. Like, I was looking at putting together a band, but I didn't really know anybody. I happened to have a chance meeting with Rich backstage at a WCW show. He was doing some work with Stuck Mojo and DDP. You know, we just became friends, and we just, like, he had this thing in Atlanta called Fozzy Osbourne that was just like a jam band, a cover band, and he's like, well, if you want to come sing with us, come on down. And I happened to be hurt or something, so I came to Atlanta, we did a couple shows. Right. And because of who was in the band, because it was Chris Jericho from wrestling and Stuck Mojo, who had a lot of steam at the time, there was like a bidding war for a record, and we never expected that. So once we had the bidding war, we did what any self-respecting musician would do. We took the record contract and started from there. That's kind of, you know, I think my favorite thing is the transitioning from the Fozzy of old to the Fozzy of new. It's almost like there's two separate bands with the same name, almost like Pantera. There's two Panteras. There's the original one that did Metal Magic and, you know, kind of more of a Van Halen type thing. Yeah, Judas big hair. And then you have the Pantera with Phil and Selma where they became Pantera. So, you know, like I said, I think Fozzy has the same vibe where there was two separate bands under the same name. And it's been cool to kind of reinvent and you know, show all the stuff we've been talking about, knowing that, you know, we're in the big leagues now, and we're playing with the Metallicas of the world. So if you're not great, you're not going to last very long. You know? And we have no problems knowing that we have all the attributes that we need, including a huge hit song now, to get even higher in the food chain. Right.
Well, a lot of people talk about your big WWE debut and then all the accolades that you've had in WWE. One of the things that really always stuck out in my mind about the Chris Jericho persona came back in the WCW era. For a while, you were, you know, the Lionheart, and you were this great wrestler in the ring, you know, with, you know, the Rey Mysterios and the Dean Malenkos and whatnot. But then all of a sudden, they decided to put a mic in your hand, and all of a sudden, you're the Ayatollah of rock and rolla. And this is a persona that we would see in Fozzy, and then we would see in your WWE run. At that time, whose idea was it to finally put the mic in your hand and let you roll with it? You know, what was the backstage, you know, talks about all that, and how did that time in WCW help you transition into Fozzy?
Like, I always had that. It just, you know, they gave me a chance to actually do that. I didn't just invent that persona. Like, I was, you know, in Japan or Mexico, or, you know, working in the Indies in Canada. I was, you know, especially as a heel, I always had that persona as a babyface as well, because I always wanted to be like the ultimate rock and roll frontman in the wrestling world, like the Paul Stanley of wrestling, or Freddie Mercury of wrestling, David Lee Roth, guys like that. So I basically took a lot of that character from rock and roll, and then when we formed Fozzy, I took a lot of that character from wrestling that I stole from rock and roll, and kind of, it was all one big circle. Right. Because all it is connecting with the audience. You have to connect with the crowd. No matter what you're doing, if it's stand-up comedy or music or wrestling or dancing, ballet dancing, whatever it may be, you have to have that connection with the live audience. Yeah. And that's something that I've always been able to do because of working on the microphone. So it's been reciprocal. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, especially my last run in WWE, as I was leaving, I would close the shows by putting all the cities on the list. It would be a total Paul saying, like, you know, how you doing tonight? Did you have a good time tonight? And like, you sound like you're, you know, fronting a band up there. It's the exact same concept, because people cheer. Right. Whether it's a wrestling crowd or a music crowd, they're going to react the same way. And I know this because I'm probably the only guy that's ever done both, you know. So at the highest levels, at least, this is not dabbling. This is like two full-blown careers. I think there's a benefit because I know both sides of the coin, which helps me when I'm in front of a crowd, whether it's a big crowd or whether it's a little crowd.
Right.
And there's intricacies to working both of them as well.
Right. You've always been someone, whether it was in wrestling or with your Talk is Jericho podcast and the podcast network, and in your time in rock music, that you always help put over other talent and make the business as a whole better or make it more of a community. What's always been the motivation behind doing that?
Well, I mean, if you're talking in wrestling at this point, like, not to sound egotistical, but I'm Chris Jericho. Nothing's going to change that. And I could lose 1,000 matches in a row, give me a microphone, and nobody cares.
Right.
I know this. You still have to win once in a while, but most of the time, for me, I don't have to do anything but just talk. So when new guys come in, of course I want to I just put them over, but of course you want to have them benefit from being in the ring with me and get them up to the next level, which gives me more guys to work with and makes more stars in the business. And same with Talk is Jericho. Like when I have some people on, there's no rules to Talk is Jericho. I have on whoever the fuck I want, whatever I want. I don't care. And there's people that want to come on that I won't have on because I don't feel a connection. But I know if somebody comes on the show, that it's going to be a good show. That's, I think, why the podcast is so successful. Over 200 million downloads at this point. Because people know when they listen to an episode that they're going to be interested, whether they know who the guest is or not. And that's another thing I take great pride in. So there's a lot of people I have on that have no form or maybe haven't done much or maybe are misconstrued. Like when I had Roman Reigns on, everyone was like, oh my God, he's the greatest guy ever, because he is. Just a lot of people boo him because that's what you're supposed to do. And they're like, are we supposed to hate this guy? But he's funny, he's charismatic, he's chatty. And that's why I wanted him on, so people could hear the real Roman Reigns.
Right.
So I'll do that from time to time, too, to be like, okay, this guy's getting an unfair shake or reputation. I want people to hear the real person.
Right.
So there's that side of it, too. There's bands, there's bands that I'll have on that I really like that maybe aren't super positive, but I don't care. I like them. And maybe you might like them, too. So I can use that kind of media clout to, A, talk to people that I want to talk to, or work with the people I want to work with, and B, give them a little bit of the spotlight that they might not get in any other way.
Right. Over the course of doing Fozzy and then also doing this Jericho podcast later on, has there ever been any like holy shit moments where you're like, I can't believe I'm talking to this person. I can't believe I just met this person. I can't believe this is happening. Have you ever had any of those moments?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Give me one second.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens quite often, and the only difference is now I'm not a blathering fanboy. Like, you can be in a room with anybody and I'll start a conversation, but I just met Schwarzenegger a couple months ago.
Okay.
And about 3 days before that, I met Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
And those are two guys, by coincidence, in the same week, I met Wayne Gretzky and Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, that was pretty fucking cool. Or the time when Jimmy Fallon took me into a room and introduced me to Keith Richards, and I talked to him for 15 minutes. Like, that's a long story, but
yeah,
there are those moments where you meet somebody where you almost can't believe they're real.
Right.
When I saw Keith Richards, I was like, he's actually a real guy. You know what I mean? So much that when he's face to face, you almost can't believe it. And I get that quite often, especially with little kids or with people when they see me. They don't quite believe it's me. And when I tell them it is me, they'll argue with me. No way. You're not Chris Jericho. Yeah, I just told you I was. No, you're not. No way. No, okay, well, I'm not going to argue with you. Either I am or I'm not, and I told you I was. So either let's talk or let's just move on. And little kids, too. I think little kids sometimes can't comprehend that the person they see on TV is actually a real person. So, yeah, so you get all that side of it as well. And, I'm still a fan, right? Fan of everything. So when I meet somebody that I really respect or I'm a fan of or appreciate their work, it is a cool moment.
Right.
You know? And that to me is one of the reasons why I think I relate to my fans so much, because I still remember what it's like.
Right.
You know?
Right. All right, one more question before I let you go. I just saw recently that you teamed up with Represent to have this T-shirt, the Goat, where a portion of the proceeds supports the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. And I know you've done a bunch of shirts with Represent in the past. Talk about teaming up with them and to do these shirts.
So teaming up with Represent? Sorry, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, I was talking about you teamed up with Represent to do the GOAT T-shirts with the proceeds going to the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Yeah. And I know you've done shirts in the past with Represent. Talk more about doing these T-shirts with them.
Yeah, I mean, they're a great company. It's kind of like I'm controlling my own merch, but also donating a portion of the profits to charity, which I think is a great idea. So I like the company. They're good people. They do great designs. And at the end of the day, I can deposit a big fat check to a charity that I believe in. So I think you'll probably see me doing the Represent campaigns probably maybe four times a year, 5 times a year, because they're only on sale for a short period of time. So if you don't buy it within the 2 weeks that it's available, then it's gone. That kind of is a cool motivation thing too. So
right.
Yeah, I appreciate the work they do, and I think my fans do as well, because it's always big successes.
All right, great. All right, Chris, thanks for chatting with me. If anybody wants to check out Fozzy, where can they find Fozzy online?
Just Google us. We're everywhere. FozzyRock.com is the website.
Awesome. All right, Chris. It's been an honor talking with you. I'm gonna miss you when you're away from WWE. Definitely, the JERICHOLICS and the Friends of Jericho are definitely gonna miss you during this time. But definitely, good luck on the road with Fozzy, and I can't wait to hear the album.
Cool, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
All right, cool. And I'll be at the show in Flint when you come to Michigan.
Oh, killer, man. Cool. It's a great place. We love the machine shop.
All right. Cool, man. All right. Good luck and take it easy, man.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Later. So that was my interview with the Ayatollah of rock and roll, Fozzy frontman, Chris Jericho. It was an honor to speak with him. And I was dude, I'm a little speechless even, so it was awesome. And definitely go check out the video for Judas by Fozzy on YouTube. It's an awesome video. Go download Judas off of iTunes, and be on the lookout for the full-length Fozzy album later this year. Definitely, I have nothing but high hopes for it. And now it's that part of the show where I'm joined with my co-host, pro wrestling and MMA connoisseur, Detroit hip-hop artist, and proud Marine, Vstylez. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Kelly? How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Yesterday, I went to my first kickboxing class.
Good shit. Yeah, how you feel?
Oh, I'm not as sore as I thought I'd be, but my calves are hurting. That's like the main part.
Oh yeah.
I didn't really know what to expect. I bought these classes back in Black Friday at this place, Jab's Gym. They have one in Birmingham and one in Eastern Market.
Yeah, I've been to Jab's out in Birmingham. I seen Roll Spit box out there. Shout out to Roll Spit.
Right.
Yeah, Jab's is pretty nice.
Yeah, my friend Niles put me up on the spot because I guess his business partner is the guy that set up started those gyms. So okay. I finally got around. I don't know, between being sick and work and everything, I couldn't get out there for the longest time. But I made myself do it yesterday because these classes that I bought are gonna expire really soon. So I was like, I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, so you had to handle your business.
So I'm like, all right, let me use these up. All right, so I finally go out there. So I don't know what to expect on this thing. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go in, and try to keep up, whatever, you know. It's crazy though, man. I totally didn't expect this. You're like in this little room. There's a bunch of the punching bags and everything set up. You know, they make it dark, and there's this awesome like sound system in there. So they're playing music and everything. For the most part, for this whole class, they're playing like electro and like ghetto tech and stuff like that. So, and the woman who was like teaching the class, she was on this microphone, basically going along with the music, you know, telling us everything to do constantly, man. So I literally felt like I was like at a rave or like the music festival or something. I didn't know if I wanted to throw punches or if I wanted to start jitting. Like, but it was super fun. It was so good, man. I enjoyed it so much. So like, I can't wait to go do it again. It's definitely like it's like perfectly something that I wanted in my life. You know, I was trying to figure out, because I do yoga on a regular basis, but I wanted something a little bit more active, a little bit more high intense. And, I think that's perfect for me. And I had a lot of fun with it. So I'm super geeked to continue to go there for it.
Okay. All right. Well, keep at it, man.
Oh yeah.
Keep at it when it comes to stuff like that.
What's that?
Definitely got to keep at it. I said when it comes to stuff like that, you got to keep at it.
Oh yeah. It was just like I was just, for the longest time, between all sorts of circumstances, I just couldn't make it out there. But then other parts of me were like, oh, I don't know if I have all the energy to do that. Oh, whatever. But there's a quote, or it's not even like a really quote, because I'm going to be paraphrasing this, and I always keep it in my mind right now these days. I'm always listening to Chael Sonnen's podcast, and 1 week recently, he's like, he said, it's the days where you don't feel like going to the gym that you need to go to the gym. So I always keep that in my mind. So anytime I'm starting to like puss out on something because I'm not feeling, I'm like, all right, no, you need to go there now, and you'll feel better for going. So I always I always keep that in my mind.
Okay, all right, that's real shit. That's it. Whatever it takes to motivate you to keep you going. That's what, you know. Everybody got their own way of doing it, man. That's a pretty good one. Yeah,
definitely. There's some sad news today. Christopher Big Black Boykins passed away. We all know him from the Rob and Big TV show on MTV years back. I think that was like the last TV show that I really watched on a regular basis. I love that show. And we also on social media, a lot of people from the MMA community were sending their condolences out, because he came out to a lot of the Bellator and Strikeforce events in the past. So it's super sad to see him go.
Yeah, well, a lot of people don't know, you know, Black, man, he you know, is I think he's Mo's like first sponsor, one of his first sponsors.
Okay.
And he always supported Mo. He's a super cool dude, man. I got a chance to hang out with him a little bit in Houston at Kimbo's last fight. You know, we enjoyed a couple of days, man, just vibing, having fun. And, you know, what was dope is he knew his Detroit hip hop, you know what I'm saying? You know, he brought up, "Are you from the D?" "Oh, yeah, man. You know Wasted 5'9"? You know Wasted 5'9"? I'm like, "Man, I got records with boys." So, man, that's how our whole, like, shit started. And, you know, I got to telling him, I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm down here, you know, with my man Mo." He said, "I'm down here to see Mo." So it was like, what? So we started kicking it, and it was just, like, super cool, man. He owned a security company. He had a lot of work that he was doing, man, and most definitely he was big in the MMA community, because he was greeted. You know, you could just tell, you know, motherfuckers knew he, you know, was into it, or, you know, he knew about it. You know, I'm not gonna say necessarily lived it, but, you know, he was part of the family,
right?
You know, so yeah, it's super sad, man. You know, cool dude, man. I got to got to, have some drinks with him and hang out, for a couple of days. But it's definitely, it's sad, man. It's like, wow, man, damn, I just seen this dude.
Right.
So like, wow. So he'll be remembered. He'll definitely be remembered, man. I gotta call my G, man, because rumor was it was a heart attack, man. That's definitely sad, man. But yeah, he knew his Detroit hip hop. He was like, "Where's your partner?" I was like, "Yeah, I got records with boys. That's my cousin, man." He's like, "Oh, like I said, that's how we started talking. It was like we was like magnets, that whole day, man. It was hot as hell in Houston that day, but in February it was hot. But yeah, he was a cool dude, man, and super sad.
Yeah, definitely. He'll be missed, man. Rest in peace, Big Black.
Indeed. Rest in peace, my dude.
Yeah. Seeing that this is the Chris Jericho episode, I know you've checked out the new Fozzy record, Judas, right?
Man, that shit dope, dude. That video dope.
Yeah, man.
The video is dope. What makes it dope is it's so simple, and the performances, and it's just dope. I'm very impressed by Judas. It's a high record, man.
Yeah, and it's like by far
the lyrics.
Yeah, it's a really good song, and we talk about it in the interview how and he definitely came out and said, like, this is the biggest record we've had thus far by far. This is a hit. We finally got like a hit.
Yeah.
They've been and just creatively, it's by leaps and bounds. This is like such a good record from in comparison to anything before. And
yeah, I agree.
And I think, and me and him talk about this. I think it has to do with this time around. They worked with a different producer, an actually outside producer for the whole record. And because in the past, both Chris Jericho and Rich Ward, who won the guitarist of the band, who he originally started the band with. They manned all the the production duties and the writing duties and everything, but this time they handed it all off to an actual someone outside the their own band.
You need that sometimes.
So yeah,
right.
And I think they were able to. I think for a while, because when Fozzy started, it was a thing that Rich Ward was doing down in Atlanta as like a cover band thing. And he asked Chris Jericho if he wanted to come sing with him. So he went down there. And next thing you know, record labels were in a bidding war to actually have them do an album. But it was kind of a novelty thing. And I think over the years they're trying to get away from the novelty, and they finally like hit that point where like they were able to break away from it with this record. And
this is a hit record.
Yeah,
I listened to it and I was like, "Oh my god!" And I had to listen to it again. And I listened to it 3 straight times because I was listening to the lyrics. And it's just some real dope shit. It's super dope.
Right.
If you get an opportunity, go to YouTube. Look at that video, man. It's creative. It's a dope performance. And it's a great record, man. You can't even front it. And it's definitely a hit, man. So if you look at something that's new and refreshing that you may have not heard, give this record a try, man. You definitely won't be dissatisfied.
Right. Fozzy has always had, they're good. They're like a good live band. They're a good fun band or whatever. But I think with this record, it really solidified them as a rock band. This is something that was just like, they took it to a new level with it. And I'm super excited to hear the rest of the album. Cause as Chris, said in the interview, he's like, do you know those albums that like have like 5 or 6 hit songs that are good for the radio? Something like, and he gave the, example of Def Leppard's Pyromania. He's like, he's like, I feel like this album has those sort of songs on it, where we have a handful of songs that can be hit songs for the radio. So I am, and I'm super excited to hear the rest of the album, see how it comes out. So, and this like, and I was just thinking about this today, and I because definitely I feel like having that sort of outside producer come in and take over the duties can breathe some new life or take the band somewhere where they wanted to go. And us coming from like a hip hop background, there's like a different there's like a different view of what a producer is in the hip hop world in comparison to like the rock world or other sorts of music. And I feel like sometimes like in the hip hop world, people don't necessarily understand like what a producer like in the rock world can do for an artist. And they kind of close themselves off. I mean, you've seen it all the time, because someone like Dr. Dre is that type of producer. He is like the Quincy Jones type of producer, or like these rock producers, which he brings in. He works with other people to produce records. He doesn't just sit there on the MPC and make beats all the time. He works with other musicians and other guys who make beats to create this vision that he has, and he has an ear of what he wants. But a lot of people in hip hop don't really understand that, or not used to it, because of just how hip hop, kind of started, where you just kind of, it was a simple thing where, you just, sample breaks and, do sampling and stuff like that, that to a certain extent, not all hip hop ever really got evolved into that whole producer mindset that rock music always had.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that assessment. I've been around people like Gov. Gov is like a real dope producer, and like a producer's job is just it's to enlighten, it's to bring life, it's to breathe life into the record, and not just the performance of the particular artist that's performing it. Sometimes you need bridges, you need melodies, there's certain things, that, it's that, like, it's like Puffy hearing a record and him coming in and saying, put that right there.
Yeah.
Okay, put that right there. And it makes the record that much better. Most dudes just rhyme on beats, and then that's their record. So I definitely, real producers don't get enough credit, man. As far as hip hop, it's a couple dudes out there that produce records. I believe Knots produces records.
Yeah.
He's just not a beat maker. I got my man Gov, my dude Moss. There's a lot of dudes out here that's, doing it. Mr. Porter is not a beat maker. He's a dude that produces a record. That listen to the records he's produced for, Pharoah Monch. Listen to it's just totally different. You breathe life into a record. Real producers do it, instead of just giving a person a beat to rhyme over him. That's it. That's corny, if you ask me.
Right. Yeah, because like in the rock world, and I've actually, it's been one of the topics that I like talking with bands recently, is like, so-and-so who's producing the record, what did they do? What did they bring to the table? How did they make you a better band? And and the funny thing is like the answers vary. Sometimes that producer almost becomes like that another member of the band. Sometimes they act as almost like they kind of keep things in order. There's a lot of different roles that like producers, like in the rock world kind of take, Sometimes they co-write stuff. Sometimes they kind of push the band to rewrite things. Sometimes.
Let me ask you this: Did Did you ask Chris who wrote Judas?
No, but he
Those were great. The lyrics of that record is dope. It's a dope fucking record. I was like, wow. I was curious if he had a hand in that, or if he co-wrote it with other members of the group, or if that's the producer's record.
I wonder if, because that might have been. I wonder if the guy who produced it, Johnny Andrews, if he wrote that record.
Right. I'm gonna pull that up and listen and look at the credits. It's a great record either way. It doesn't take away from anything, but if that producer wrote that, it's like when you see Babyface in concert and he's singing all the records that he's ever wrote, and you didn't know that he did those records because, people like, Bobby Brown sang My Prerogative.
Right.
And that's a Babyface, right? Like, Babyface got records. The producer can definitely bring life to an artist, man. I think they ready, man. I think they're ready. And I think I might, it's going to be tough, but I think I might roll out with you, man. I'm really considering that.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, come to the Machine Shop in Flint on Tuesday, May 23rd. So I'll definitely be there. But, yeah, definitely, you should come with me.
Yeah, I'm really like, you know what? I think that would be cool. That would be super cool.
Hell yeah.
And in fact, I think Judas is available for purchase right now, right?
Oh, yeah, you can. It's on iTunes and Amazon and all of them. So, yeah, you can.
Yeah, I'm going to cop it when we get off. What we doing.
Definitely. Switching topics. Okay, I don't necessarily follow boxing too much. I kind of pay attention enough to know what's going on. But let me ask you something, man. This Canelo Chavez fight this past weekend, was this the closest thing that we would see these days to a work without being a work just to get to that Triple G fight?
I don't think so. I just think.
What was the point of this fight?
You said what was what?
What was really the point of this Canelo Chavez fight, though?
Well, Julio Cesar Chavez has a huge following.
Yeah.
Junior inherited his dad's fans.
Yes.
Because you still having, people that when you talk boxing, at least when you're talking about boxing, in the Hispanic world, Mexicans, Julio Cesar Chavez is God.
Yeah.
So when he retired, his son basically was groomed to become champion. I'm not necessarily the biggest WBC fan these days. That's the green belt.
Yeah.
The green belt, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I think it's just corrupt, man. You have to pay sanction fees to be champion. Well, you have to pay sanction fees to keep your title. Chavez Jr. never really faced tough opposition throughout his career. He's been unprofessional, in my opinion, constantly coming in overweight. There have been questions as far as his, drug tests. As far as, I've heard some things. It's just real questionable. Not saying that he pissed dirty or anything like that, but a lot of people believe that. Some people believe that other people, gave him urine to, pass tests. Yeah, I've hollered at some people, and it's like, wow, it all makes sense, man. But when you're talking about a name, HBO, like I said, this dude has been groomed from the beginning to take over the WBC from where,
Yeah.
we've been watching it for a minute. So, it's crazy. Bumpy Knuckles calling me right now, and I can't even pick the phone up. He's been groomed. So basically, when you're talking about the Triple G fight, with Canelo,
Yeah.
you have to give him a name that fans recognize, and I'm not talking about boxing fans. I'm talking about the casual boxing fans.
Okay,
They
all right.
may not know this person, but they're Chavez, that's his son, so they go tune in. I believe millions and millions of people watch this. So what we were hoping for was Chavez Jr. having his act together. When he came in on weight at 164, because it was a catchweight fight,
Yeah.
we all looked at it like, wow, okay, he looked good. And I had been getting reports that he's in the best shape of his life, and it looked like it at weigh-in. So there was hope there. But with me, I always, skills pay the bills. And Canelo is, in my opinion, top 3. He is that real deal. We were hoping for a good fight from Chavez. Canelo did what he was supposed to do. So it was more so a glorified sparring match. Canelo didn't even sit down he didn't sit down in between rounds.
Right.
So it was just easy work for him because his skill level is so complete, whereas Chavez Jr.'s skill level really wasn't there. And here's another point I like to make. Canelo is a monster. This is the same dude that couldn't hit Floyd.
Yeah.
Couldn't hit him. And to me, Canelo is super solid. People should give Floyd a little bit more credit, man. When I hear guys say, man, he fought nobody, are you crazy? Canelo is a monster. He was young back. Nah, he's gotten better. You get better. You're supposed to get better after each fight, but, Floyd is just that good. But Canelo, other than that, Canelo been wrecking shop, so you can't take nothing away from him. That's why I picked him to destroy Triple G when they fight in September. So I think Chavez is winning there, played the part, got a check, and he's still going to get big fights because he's Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
Boxing people know, like, this dude's shot, man. But he has a name. That's just like, as much as I love, Ronald Hearns, we watch Ronald Hearns because we was hoping to see his dad again. And that's basically what's happened. Chavez Jr. He was able to milk the cow. He was groomed to be a champion, and not the correct way, the bullshit way. But you put him in the ring with somebody that really got it, like Canelo, and you'll see the difference between the real and the Fugazi. So that's basically what happened on Saturday to me. I wasn't surprised. I was hopeful that Chavez could, make me, be like, wow, ooh, nah. But in my mind, I'm like, Canelo is just too nice. And, he too nice. He's too nice.
Yep. Yeah, I was just wondering because I'm just like I'm just seeing the way everything's playing out on social media and everything. Because I didn't actually watch the fight, and I'm like, this seems too weird for me, man. Like, I don't know, maybe I don't understand it all completely, but it just all seemed too weird about how it all went down. So anyways, kickboxing.
That's all. It's all good. Nah, the best part of the night. What's really funny is I don't often fall asleep during fights. I fell asleep in the 9th round, and when I woke up, that's when the announcement of the Triple G fight was happening in September, and I got excited immediately.
That's what was going on the social media. Literally what you just said. I'm seeing on Twitter how people are just saying they're just kind of dozing off around the 9th, 10th round, checking their Twitter, checking their fantasy football or fantasy baseball or whatever. But then they all got super excited when after the fight when they announced the Triple G fight.
Oh man, look, you talking about real? Oh man, look, bro, I was like, oh yeah, it's time. It's time. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that, man. That's gonna be some dope shit, dude. It's gonna be some dope shit.
Right. Switching topics to the world of wrestling. You know what? There's nothing really new going on in WWE this week. During the UK, both Raw and SmackDown really didn't advance anything. So it's like one of those things. It's like one of those things where like you could skip this week of WWE and not lose anything, not like be lost on anything. I'm like, all right, like I was so ramped up from going to kickboxing class that my mind was racing so much that I couldn't even pay attention to Raw really. I was just like,
right,
woo, yeah. But in wrestling, there's two things I got to talk about in wrestling though, because I get like two new obsessions, and they're both out of Japan.
Okay.
The first is this. It's this wrestling company that's been around since 2011. It's called Stardom. It's all women's wrestling.
Okay.
Pretty much a who's who of people who have been in the indies have gone through Stardom at one point or another. From all over the world. I believe for a while, for a certain time then years ago, like Asuka was in Stardom for a while when she was known as Kana.
Okay.
But I'm super. I finally just sat down and kind of watched some of the matches, and they got a monthly video subscription called Stardom World, and it comes out to be like $6 or $7 a month, and it's like I'm sitting here watching these fights, and they're so much fun to watch. It's like none of them are really long. All their fights are 8 to 20 minutes. The more longer fights are probably tag matches, but it's all action like during those fights, and like these women they actually get down, man. Like they're really on that strong style type shit that Asuka does in NXT, man, and it is like it's so much fun. And the funny thing is, there's no commentary on any of. There's not even Japanese commentary on any of this on any of these videos. So you're just kind of hearing the crowd noise, because it's not even a huge crowd, but you just hear people yelling. But then you also hear, the wrestlers themselves yelling at each other. So it's kind of just fun to hear just the natural sounds. But at the same time, it's also a bit calming just to watch them wrestle and do all these crazy moves and stuff. And a lot of these performers, they have like kind of like a natural charisma about themselves. The way someone like an Asuka has, or even Shinsuke Nakamura, where they don't really have to talk. They just have a natural charisma. So I love watching Stardom now. Like I'm just like I gotta watch a few matches like every day, and I'm just going through like the catalog, like, and there's this one of my favorite my favorite wrestlers in Stardom. She goes by the name of Chris Wolf, and she's like she's I'm assuming she's Japanese, but she was born and raised in Chicago, so she speaks fluent English. But
Okay.
she is like, but she's weird though. Like she's always talking about eating her opponents and shit like that. Cause like she's a werewolf or something. And it's so hilarious. Like she'll before before they fight, like she'll go up to her opponents and start sniffing them like she's a werewolf. And it's like you gotta see her. She is so like hilarious, and all of her little interviews and stuff that they do before the matches are so funny. Like it's crazy. I believe because there's been rumors of like WWE doing the women's tournament.
Right.
I believe there's a couple of the women from Stardom who have been main Stardom talent that might be a part of that. There was one Stardom wrestler. She goes by the name of Io Shirai. I know she had a WWE tryout earlier on this year. She is also super dope. Like, but like it's such a cool. I'm totally obsessed with it.
Yeah. Okay. Send me when we get off the phone, man. Send me a link to something I can look, man. I want to check that out.
Yeah.
You got me kind of curious now.
Okay. Now the next thing I want to talk about is this other thing that I just happened to come across when I was coming home the other night from work or whatever. I just noticed this invitation on Facebook because I'm Facebook friends with this women's Japanese wrestler called Haku Shida. And she sent out this invitation for a live Facebook live broadcast, and I turned it on, and I'm like, "What the hell is this crazy shit?" Because I'm seeing these dudes wrestle, but there's music going on at the same time. There's from what I believe, there's like a band like actually they're playing while they're wrestling. And I'm like, what the hell is going? And then
that actually sounds kind of dope.
And then the next moment, like I see people kind of acting out, sort of like something in the ring. Okay, so I go and do my research on it. Like this organization's called MAKAI, and what it basically is it's like a musical and wrestling put together. And it's what they called a fighting musical. So like on a regular Broadway musical where you'd have like the scenes, the talking parts, the dialogues, and then they would belt out songs afterwards and stuff. Well, kind of replace the songs that they're belting out with wrestling matches. And this is what happens. I was like,
wow.
I was like, this is amazing. Like, I'll see if it's still on Facebook, if they still have it saved on there, and I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
I want to see that.
Because this was like, it was so. I'm sitting here, I'm just amazed by this. I'm like, this is so amazing right now. It's so absurd, but so amazing. I'm like, I want to see more of this, man. This is crazy. And apparently, what they were showing was the first. Like the first episode that they've done of this. Apparently MAKAI has had other sorts of events too. And they might be similar to that, but for what this new thing that they're doing, this was like the first episode of this particular type of show that they're doing. And I was just like, dude, this is incredible, man. I'm like, there's music going on while these guys are fighting, and everybody had and it was all this weird. There was like scenes going on where it was crazy, man. There's some sort of story being told, but I wasn't able to catch it all because I wasn't watching it from the beginning or anything. But I'll definitely try to find it and send it to you because this shit is amazing. And they also have a whole MAKAI has a whole YouTube channel with a bunch of different clips of stuff from their past. I'll send that to you also because it's like,
yeah, I want to see this, man.
This is like amazing absurdity at its finest, and I'm just like, this is what I love about like Japanese wrestling, man. They just totally go to these crazy other lengths to like to do wrestling and everything, man. So super geeked to just keep on watching this shit. Like I'm like, man, this is right. All right, switching topics again to the world of MMA, where the UFC is still in the weirdest disarray of all time. I don't know. We have this Bisping GSP fight that we have no idea when it's actually going to happen. Sometime after October, GSP says at this time, and this is just pissing off everybody else that's in that middleweight division. Dude,
right.
Is it from my advantage? This sounds like something that is all on the fault of the UFC. They were trying to get a fight earlier than GSP wanted to do, and they kept on trying to push it to be in probably in July, and it just, he didn't want to do that. But they still started to keep on pushing it for just the reason of, I guess, having star power for that July event. Do you think this is all on UFC's fault that we're gonna have to wait this long, and that they announced this thing so early, and we're gonna have to wait this long for this fight?
Of course, it's the UFC's fault. These dudes, man, they like, where's the love? What happened to? What happened to the best fighting the best?
Right.
What happened to that? The reason people love the UFC is because the best fought the best. The champion fought the top contenders. He ran through the top 10. I get super fights. I think super fights should be earned. And I would never consider this a super fight because I just think Michael Bisping is one of the luckiest son of a bitches ever.
Yeah.
But again, you got to get in there and win, and that's, what he's been able to accomplish. So, it doesn't matter if it's GSP. It doesn't matter if it's Yoel Romero, if he's still there. It doesn't matter if it's Lou Rockholm. It's a who's who. Damian Maia. Damian Maia is welterweight. My apologies. But it's still a who's who in the middleweight division that, would smash Michael Bisping, including Anderson Silva. If Anderson Silva would have had 10 more seconds in that fight, he would have stopped him. And I still think that I think it was a flash knockout. I just do. And the bell saved him. So like I said, and that's why I say he's one of the luckiest dudes like ever. Like, who survives that and come back and win. So again, he went in there and did the job, but it's some bullshit going on, man. GSP, who has never fought at middleweight before, all of a sudden comes back. He gets to pick the dude that he feel like least is threatening to him to take his title. It would be funny if Michael Bisping beat the brakes off of him. He beat the brakes off of him, and I wouldn't even have nothing crazy to say, because it's like, that's what you get for putting that motherfucker in the ring, because you're basically using GSP to try to draw some numbers, and especially if they had that fight in Canada.
Right.
You know, you know, it's a business now, man. You talking about, you know, the UFC, you know, that I you know, I'm accustomed to, you know, these last 10 years or so. It was the best fighting the best. You know, their whole thing was, well, we're not going to do no freak show stuff. Well, it's turning into a freak show, you know, right in front of us.
Right.
And it's just super sad. Meanwhile, you look at that Bellator card that's coming up in London. Oh my God, that looks so great,
dude. Yeah. Dude, I'm excited for that.
It looks super, and it was announced today that the winner of the Rory McDonald Paul Daly fight will fight the winner of the Lima Larkin fight for the title.
Man,
so that's super dope. Like,
talk about a story.
Changing. Say again.
Talk about building a story.
Man, look. Scott Coker knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta lure people in and get them interested. And if they keep tuning in to you, you know, they see how how it's progressing into, you know, like, wait a minute, these dudes are serious, because that's a solid ass card, bro. Top to bottom, that's a solid card. And, you know, say what you want, you know, but the tide is changing, man. People better start waking up and realizing. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm like the Bellator cheerleader or nothing like that, you know, but, you know, I just know what I've seen. You know, if I haven't seen it, I wouldn't even speak about it, but I've seen it. I've seen Scott Coker and what he's been doing, you know, with Strikeforce, and now with Bellator, man. And, you know, we go be in bigger arenas, and they're gonna be in casinos soon. We're gonna be in bigger arenas, and I'm telling you, you know, the WWF or WWE was the best when it had competition. Yeah. And then that competition took over. And Scott Coker, he had momentum. You know, he had that momentum at Strikeforce. It was happening. And then, you know, they didn't redo the contract with Showtime, and UFC wound up purchasing Strikeforce. And then they held Scott Coker down for, you know, the length of his contract. And here we are. He's in charge of Bellator, man. So this is Scott Coker, man. So salute to that dude. You know, follow the fighters. You know, don't follow the organizations. Follow the fighters, man. I'm having a good time watching what's happening with Bellator and ONE FC and the rest of these organizations that's coming up and really trying to change the game in a different way and bring back respect to what we all love, which is mixed martial arts, man. It's, you know, I'm not the guy that's going to Vegas on the weekend to party when it's a fight. I'm there to enjoy the festivities, but the fight is the main thing that I'm there for.
Oh, definitely.
And you need fans. You need more fans like that are passionate about the sport. You know, I mean, I get the whole casual fans, man, but they are the worst. Oh, I hate them.
And I think they're the worst in MMA. Like, when you think of casual fans of all different types, the casual fans in MMA are pretty bad.
Yeah, man, this is, man. You know, trying to have a conversation with them, you know, it's just, for me, it'd be disheartening because I feel like I'm wasting energy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wasting words. Where, you know, it's like talking to a person who really don't get it. You know, and win or lose, whoever I'm rooting for, I give it up, you know, but I call it as I see it. They don't, you know, they don't get that. Or, you know, even when you talk about boxing with Floyd, you know, they think fighting is rock'em sock'em robots. Fighting is the art of hitting without getting hit. who wants to take a fucking punch to the face?
Nobody wants to take
hard?
punches, man. Shoot, no. Right. Nobody wants to take punches.
You know, they think Floyd supposed to stand there and just let somebody punch him in the fucking face and then throw another punch. Nah, get the fuck out of here, man. Those are the worst fans, man. He's running. How is he running? He's running. You know, well, dang, you know, you guys, you know, you clown him about the Pac-Man performance, but what you really should be mad at is Pac-Man. Pac-Man didn't do what y'all thought he was going to do. You know, Floyd went in there and did exactly what I knew he would do. Be defensive and not waste no punches. You know, so, yeah, the casual fan, man, whew, bless you, man. Bless you.
It just sucks that this UFC middleweight division is being held up now for this fight that the UFC was trying to put on to bring, you know, GSP back or whatever. When there's so many contenders at the top of this division, and all of them, and who knows when anyone's going to actually get a title shot because of how far in the future this Bisping GSP fight is gonna be. Who knows when that's gonna actually be. So it kind of sucks that it's kind of holding up this division.
Yeah.
For me,
real shit.
For me, after all this, you know, the dust settles and the smoke clears, I'm really caping to that Robert Whittaker gets a title shot at some point, and that
wins. Would be dope. You know what I was thinking? Damn, it's funny that you said that. What about Yoel Romero and Robert Whittaker for the interim title?
Yeah, sure, cool. Yeah, it's just like
that makes sense.
That makes sense, man. And the thing is, Robert Whittaker, he said that he's in really no rush to get a title shot. He'll do whatever he wants. He'll fight, you know, and that's what I like about him. You know, he's a good fighter, but he's kind of quiet as kept. But at the same time, he'll fight. You know, and I respect a guy like that, you know. So that's why, like, out of all these guys, I want him to. I would like him to be champ. And
you know what? I'd like him. My boy Mike Hill, you know, he was like, you know, because I made a comment. You know, of course I picked Jacare because of his experience, because of his pedigree, because of, you know, just a lot of reasons why we all, for the most part, picked Jacare. That didn't mean I didn't know nothing about Robert Whittaker, man. That dude is a monster. So, you know, did it surprise me that he beat Jacare? Sure. It surprised everybody across the world that was watching this fight. So, salute to Robert Whittaker, man. Yeah, you know, the sky's the limit for that guy, man. I would love to see him get an interim title shot, you know, but the humility says everything, man. I'm really big on humility, man. So dude's going to go far. I'm pretty sure he's going to be a champion, man. You know, you can't stop guys with that will like that.
Definitely. This Saturday is UFC 211, headlined by Stipe Miocic versus Dos Anjos, the rematch between those guys. This is a pretty stacked card, so much so that the Eddie Alvarez-Dustin Poirier fight is the headliner for the preliminaries.
And that's crazy. How do you go from headlining a pay-per-view with Conor McGregor to headlining the preliminaries? That's just not, like, it's like, God, come on, man. Are you kidding me?
Right.
You know,
I was kind of shocked to see that, man. I was kind of shocked to see that that was on the prelims, because
yeah,
I enjoy seeing Dustin Poirier fight, and I was like, I think this is going to be a good fight, you know, and
yeah, I do too.
And
I do too. That's a pick-em fight for me, man, because I like both guys.
Yeah,
Eddie Alvarez is super cool. You know, I've been around him, you know, several times, man. He always was real respectful, man. You know, I met him over in Bellator. You know, he cool dude, man. I didn't think Conor rolled through him like that, but it happened. But I think, to me, it's disrespectful to have that dude on, you know, your headlining your preliminary. That's cool. I guess it's cool you headlining and you have millions of people watching you, but still. I didn't like the fact that they had Mo, you know, Mo should have been on that pay-per-view against Ryan Bader, not the headlining, you know, before the pay-per-view. I realized that's a stacked card, but you're talking about having your best fighters on the pay-per-view. Ryan Bader is top 5 in the world. Right. How do you not have him on that pay-per-view? That made no sense to me. So, I mean, it made sense in the aspect, TV-wise. I get that. But I just, any other card, that could have been a pay-per-view matchup.
Definitely.
Just in my opinion.
Also at 211, got Frankie Edgar versus Yair Rodriguez. This should be an exciting fight.
Yeah, I want to see what Frankie Edgar got, man. I just want to see where his head's at.
It seemed like not too long ago it was kind of dicey about whether he would come back to the UFC.
Yeah, he was talking about retiring, right?
Yeah, either retiring or going somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I want to see where his head's at. We'll know Saturday looking at it. We'll know weigh-ins what he's looking like.
Right. And then we have Damian Maia versus Masvidal. This was a fight that a lot of other people in the welterweight division were saying Maia was kind of stupid to take because he is a contender, and this could drop his stock because Masvidal's been kind of like the headhunter in this division. But you kind of, Maia's a fighter, he wants to fight,
who I'm rooting for? I like Masvidal.
Yeah.
But I'm rooting for Damian Maia, man. That dude, jiu-jitsu is fucking incredible. He's nasty. His striking has improved throughout the years. I remember that guy going against Anderson Silva years ago, and his striking wasn't there. You could just see how he's focused on different things to become a more well-rounded fighter. When you have jiu-jitsu like his, you get a fighter to the ground, you don't have to depend on too much. He learned that he needed to throw hands, man. So, and he's an OG in my opinion, man. So I want to see that dude win. No disrespect to Masvidal. Great performance against that was Cowboy Cerrone he smashed, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, great performance, and again, you're a Strike Force guy. I remember seeing you over there. So, yeah, salute to you. But I've been rooting for Damian Maia a minute now. It will be good if he won on Saturday, and then, granted he doesn't have any injuries that could hold him back. Challenge Woodley, and then that's your fight for the July weekend.
Hell yeah. I'll be down for that.
I like Tyron Woodley, but he get ahead of himself sometimes. He want people to like him so much, and you could just, them type dudes, like, I don't give a fuck about how a person, view me as a rapper or, a person. You don't know me, man. But to me, he wants people to, like him. And I just think, he go out there and do what he gonna do and smash people. He'll prove doubters wrong, and You know, you don't really have to. I get he's right in a lot of aspects of MMA as far as the black fighter. I totally get that.
Oh yeah.
But even with that, you know, you gotta, you know, I ain't saying he don't show class, because, you know, I just think sometimes he talks a little bit too much, man. He don't need to, man. He just keep doing what he's doing, man. You know, I roots for people. He's always been an underdog, so for him to be champion now is pretty cool. You know, he beat my boy Robbie Lawler, so, you know, I want to see him win, but, you know, choose your battles, man, because, you know, to be honest with you, you know, it's like what Nate Diaz was saying, man, belts don't really mean shit no more.
Right.
It's just, you know, belts help you more in a sense as far as people knowing you're the champion. But Nate Diaz, just in my opinion, is such in high demand that, you know, if you're on a card with him, you know, you're not going to main event. He's going to main event because he's Nate fucking Diaz. You know,
right.
he's built his fucking name on throughout the years, you know, his way. And, you know, somebody like GSP, I mean, I get who he is, but he comes straight to the main event, the middleweight division. The middleweight division. Why not go fight Tehran? You know, get him that payday. You chose Michael Bisping because you thought he was the easiest route. See, shit like that make me kind of want to root against you. And I like GSP, man. How do you not like GSP? That's like apple pie type shit. But just, you know, it's obvious he picked him, you know, because he thought he was the easier fighter. I can hear George saying that is not true. That is not true, you know, but I think it's true.
It's like a stock market.
Exactly. That is not true. That is not true. You know, but yeah, you know, I really believe, you know, he chose Bisping because he was the easiest route to a title. Because if he wins, he's vacating. He's not defending. GSP and Yoel Romero. Fuck no, man. Yoel Romero is a fucking monster. He is a killer. No gay Jesus! No! That's what he said, man. I'm just repeat. Hey, don't kill the messenger, man. I'm just repeating your. No! No gay Jesus.
No. All right. Speaking of belts, also at
211. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Speaking of belts, at 211, the women's strawweight title is up for grabs. The champion Joanna Jędrzejczyk is fighting Jessica Andrade.
Man, that's gonna be a hell of a fight, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's gonna be that's a pick-up fight for me too, man. Because I seen old girls last fight, and I was like, ooh, that's gonna be a smack. Didn't she knock her out with a head kick or some shit like that?
Which one? Who?
Not the champion, the challenger.
Oh, Jessica Andrade.
Yeah, she knocked somebody out with a fight. It wasn't a punch; it was a head kick. It was like a. It was one of those when you saw, you was like, ooh.
Like, ooh, yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, she kicked her, and then she smashed her with the hammer with one hand. Yeah. It was pretty, too. It was. Like, in your face, girl, in your face.
That should be a good fight, man. Another good women's matchup. I'm looking forward to. And then in the main event, you have Stipe Miocic versus Junior Dos Santos. This heavyweight belt has been kind of a hot potato past couple years. Do you think Stipe keeps it?
Honestly, you know what I'm hoping for? I'm hoping that Junior Dos Santos wins.
Okay.
Because if he wins, he's going to want payback against the Reem. And the Reem I just believe he's gonna be champion and he's gonna retire. That's just how I see it. I think he's gonna win the belt, complete his trophy case, and retire. I see him having one more possible title run, and if the stars align and JDS wins, because JDS is already one up on Steel. Oh, I keep fucking on. I always fuck this dude's name up.
Stipe Miocic.
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 What's his name? For first name?
Stipe. Just say Stipe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call him motherfucking Stipe. Stipe! Whatever. Yeah, he already went up on my man Stipe, and if he wins, he'd be 2 up on him. So it wouldn't be a quick rematch because he already two up on him. And if Alistair wins his next fight against whomever it is, then that sets up a rematch between them two. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? So and JDS gonna be talking his shit, and Alistair. I don't know if you've seen. I got the new Ream is up. It came out last week. I need to watch that. But I don't know if you've seen him lately, but he looking like the old Ream, like he eating horse meat again.
Yeah, man, he looking scary, bro.
He's looking real scary, man. So who knows what's going on? But follow the fight. I keep saying it. I'm always say this: follow the fighters, not the organizations. If you follow the fighters, you'll see that all the fighters is not in one of the organizations, and you will learn more. And be an independent thinker. Don't be a bandwagon. UFC, does he do? I hate this shit right here. Does he do UFC? What the fuck is that?
Does he do UFC?
Does he do UFC? No, he doesn't. But he's an MMA fighter. Oh, I thought he did UFC. Oh, man, what the fuck, man, really? Tell you, dog. Them be the conversations that I be at. Look, when somebody talk to me like they know what they talking about, I get happy. And I can start talking to them because it's like,
right.
I want to hear your point of view now, and it's refreshing. But try talking to an idiot, man. It ain't their fault that they idiots. They just, they don't know, but they are stupid idiots. Shout out to Chris Jericho.
Stupid idiots, man. Before we close the show out, that's one thing about this week. No Chris Jericho on WWE television. And it was such a void, man. It was such a void.
Man, you know what? I DVR SmackDown. I'm probably gonna watch it after when we finish. I gotta call Bump back.
Yeah.
When I get a phone with him, I'm gonna watch SmackDown. I'm gonna set that up with him too. We get that done soon.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. And oh man, you telling me that already heard me.
No stupid idiots, cool. No its, no list of Jericho, no friends of Jericho, God. Man. Like, I'm already missing them, dude. Like,
oh man, I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to watch him on YouTube.
Right, man. Like, literally.
I got everything. I record every week, man. So I got all my Raws from this year so far, man. So I could go back and watch them, man. So we can definitely go relive. You just made the list.
I was in waiting for him to call me to do that interview. Like I started just watching stuff online on YouTube, and I started watching his debut in the WWF. When he came out, with The Rock was out there, and I'm like, dude, this was so good.
Right.
This debut was so good, and you remember how they set it up by doing the Y2 like the Y2K countdown all the time. It would just come out of
Oh
nowhere.
man, that was great.
That was one of the best setups for a debut ever, man. I was like, and then I just watched it. I'm like, dude, this is so good, man. I'm like, holy crap, man, this is so good.
I'm telling you, man, people better start appreciating that dude right now, man. I'm super happy that I've watched him really from day one. You know, not
Right.
in the WWE, but shit, I can remember him in WCW back when he, you know, like Chris Jericho used to do. Look, the funny thing is, if you look at him now, from now to when he started,
Yeah.
he still does the same fucking moves. Lion Saw. He still has the same finisher. Like the Code Breaker is a new finisher for him, really, in the last 6-7 years. But he still does the same shit. He still high flies. It may be a different level of high fly, but it's still Chris Jericho. It's almost like in the same vein of the Undertaker being an OG, but still doing old school on the top rope. You know, so I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan, but he, you know, this year I probably wouldn't be like him being on Raw for the longest time was the only reason I watched Raw, because I wanted to see what he was gonna say, and that's when wrestling is like. It reminded me of like you didn't give a fuck if The Rock wrestled,
Right.
You just wanted to hear what he was gonna say next,
Right.
and that's Chris Jericho. You wanted to hear what he was gonna say next, man. And yeah, if Raw was whack, I knew Chris Jericho was dope. Straight up.
Always, man. He was always the highlight.
Easily my favorite dude right now. Him and AJ Styles.
Definitely, man. So yeah, it's already a void, man. Man,
I don't even need to watch match. I seen the end of the match where AJ Styles. You know, maybe I need to. Oh man, that's a downer, man. That's a down.
This week's SmackDown was just kind of rehashing everything from the week prior, and everything kind of going down with. I
ain't feeling this Jinder Mahal shit.
I can't wait till I don't know. Just I don't know, man. It's just the same old stuff. There was nothing really on both Raw and SmackDown this week that really advanced the storylines or anything. And the thing was, and we talked about it last week, there was Raw the previous week had that really amazing main event in the way it ended. And this week, I mean, did you watch Raw on Monday?
Fell asleep on it.
See, the thing is that they didn't really, you know, grab onto how amazing. I mean, they still had things with Seth Rollins and Samoa Joe, but they didn't really. They could have, but they had like Bray Wyatt versus I think Dean Ambrose or something. And
that shit was corny.
And it was corny. And they didn't really even like continue on with whatever was going on between Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt. Like that was kind of a cool thing that I thought was gonna start, and then they just didn't do anything the next week. Like they had separate things or something. So I was just like, oh, you guys just like you had a really dope ending to Raw last week, and didn't really kind of continue it, you know, didn't latch on to how good that actual ending was and how many storylines it continued or started. So, whatever.
yeah. That's the writers, man. The writers fuck up real quick. They fuck up real quick all the time.
Oh, well, man. Whatever. Man. All right, that's about it for this week's episode. It was the Chris Jericho episode. Drink it in, man.
Bring it in, man.
right, Vstylez, where can everybody find you online?
Hit me up on Twitter twitter.com/Vstylez, VSTYLEZ. Same thing with the Facebook /VSTYLEZ. Hit me up on Facebook.com for my Vstyle verified page at /official Vstyles. And you can hit me up /Vstyles on Instagram, VSTYLEZ.
Great. Thanks for listening. See y'all next week.
Peace.
Fresh is the word.